I have a confession to make. I made a mistake. As a matter of fact, I made many mistakes throughout my life, and I don't think there will ever come a time when I'll stop making mistakes. I guess the solution is quite simple then. If I just don't do anything, I can't make any mistakes, right? As you're probably well aware because you also made mistakes before, mistakes are a part of life, so they're not going anywhere. That means it's all about how we deal with them. And what better character to learn this from than Thor? He made one very crucial mistake, and let's just say he didn't take it so well. Only when he learned today's lesson he finally recovered and continued being a hero. Today's lesson, dealing with mistakes. Thor is over 1,500 years old. Can you imagine how many mistakes he must have made in his life? A couple of the ones we witness are him screaming at his father, calling him an old man and a fool for rightfully calling Thor out on his arrogance and aggression. Him attacking Jotunheim in an attempt to start a war without really considering the consequences, and trusting Loki too much in the first Avengers movie. The big mistake, however, happens in Infinity War when Thor arrives in Wakanda with his new axe and takes on Thanos. After none of the other Avengers could even get close to Thanos, Thor was the only one actually capable of killing Thanos before he snaps his fingers. But as you all probably remember, these words are about to haunt him for the next 5 years.
You should have gone for the head.
He should have gone for the head. He made the mistake of not going for the head, so Thanos was still able to snap his fingers and half of the universe turned to dust. And that's on him now. When we next see him in Avengers Endgame, a couple of weeks went by and he just seems pissed off at first glance. Pissed off, but focused. But when the Avengers locate Thanos and want to talk to him, Thor doesn't hesitate and kills Thanos. But it's too late. It's only now that we see how much that mistake haunts him.
What did you do? I went for the head.
With no hope of bringing half the universe back to life and thereby undoing his mistake, 5 years go by and those 5 years weren't good for Thor.
Drink? What are we drinking? Like beer, tequila, all sorts of things.
He never got over his mistake, and what Thor is now effectively doing is nothing. He's not helping rebuilding Asgard, he's just rotting away in his house. Nobody is even allowed to mention the name Thanos.
Don't you say that.
Sure, this is a pretty extreme case, but I'm sure many of you can relate to making a mistake and then lying in bed someday and suddenly your past mistakes come to mind and you still can't get over them. Many of you then probably watch something or listen to something to distract yourself so that you can fall asleep. You're distracting yourself from those thoughts, and I get it, it's not a pleasant experience thinking about your past mistakes. I've been there, but distraction is not the right way. That's what Thor is doing, and look at him.
Fix everything. Well, like the cable? Because that's been driving me bananas for weeks.
He's simply distracting himself by drinking and playing video games or watching others play. I'm not actually sure what he does. I think many of you can resonate with a situation like this. Hopefully your situation wasn't as extreme, but I'm sure you're familiar with having something on your mind that troubles you, and in an attempt to numb your own thoughts, we drink, go partying, play video games, binge watch a series, or whatever it is that distracts us and releases some quick dopamine. For Thor, the big switch comes when he gets to chat with his mom. He learns that he has failed. He failed big time.
It's a little bit harsh.
But crucially, those mistakes don't make him an idiot. He is still capable of doing great things. To top it all off, what probably ends up meaning just as much, if not more to Thor, is his hammer returning.
I'm still worthy.
He's still worthy. And you can really see the glow up in his eyes. Even his hammer, and by extension thereby also his father Odin, who enchanted the hammer, still thinks he is worthy, despite all his mistakes. Or maybe I shouldn't say despite, but because of all his mistakes. Our past mistakes are a part of us. They made us who we are today. And who knows who we would be if we hadn't made them. I think Thor also realizes here what most people get wrong. We tend to define worthiness for ourselves based on our actions. To be worthy, we have to be a certain way, do certain things. A much healthier approach is to instead define worthiness by something that lies within ourselves. The last 5 years, Thor's actions were not worthy. He turned his back on the Asgardians by isolating himself, and yet he's still worthy because not his actions made him worthy, but who he is in his core. And thinking of worthiness in that sense will actually take a lot of pressure off our shoulders and thereby enable us to organically make better decisions. The best part about the scene where Thor calls his hammer is that he stays fat. They would have had every opportunity to have a lightning blast come down and Thor could have been back to his old self. Shout out to Chris Hemsworth for not letting that happen, because as far as I know that was the original plan, but Chris managed to convince them to keep fat Thor until the end of the movie. He doesn't learn a lesson and then suddenly everything is back to perfect, but instead, very realistically, Thor has to live with the consequences of his lifestyle over the last 5 years, and eventually puts in the work to get back into shape. But for now, he is a worthy fat Thor wielding Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
Kill him properly this time.
The trauma, however, is still here, and dealing with that is going to take more than a couple of push-ups. It's going to be like that for all of us. Physical health definitely has a positive impact on our mind, but some things in our mind simply need to be dealt with straight on. The message I want you to take away from this is that you have made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes, and that's fine. Try to undo your mistakes, and if you can't, accept them and learn from them. Don't let past mistakes define your future. You're still worthy to be great. I'd like to end this with a quote by Nelson Mandela. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. If you're interested in more movie life lessons, then check out this video about how purpose saved Iron Man's life. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts on Thor's journey and what movie life lessons you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.